Good morning, dear students of class 8. Welcome to the English online learning class. Today we are going to further continue with the lesson The Best Christmas Present in the World and part 5. So first let us continue and revise what we did in the previous class. So the narrator wanted a junk in the junk shop, a roll top desk. He always wanted to buy one. And this desk, although it was burned, it was in a bad condition, it was of pure oak, and it was also not expensive. So he thought of buying it so that he could repair it and it would be functional. So he made the payment, he bought it, and he took it to his workroom at the back of the garage and he started working on Christmas Eve. Now the desk was badly burned. It was damaged by fire and water. So he had to use lot of force in order to open the drawer. But when he opened the drawer, the last drawer, he found there was a secret drawer. And inside this was put a small tin box. On the top of this tin box was tape, a piece of lined notepaper on which was written Jim's last letter received on January 25, 1915, to be buried with him when the time comes. Now, out of curiosity, he decided to read letter because it is not the right thing to read a letter which belongs to someone else. But then it was out of curiosity. He opened the box, and in the box was an envelope. And in this envelope, address was written, Mrs. Jem Macpherson, 12 Copper Beeches, Bridport, Dorset. And when he opened the envelope, he found a letter. And he started reading this letter. It was written on December 26, 1940. Now, it was addressed as Dearest Coney. Probably Coney is the name of Mrs. Jim Macpherson, and it was written by her husband, Mr. Jim Macpherson, who was in the battlefield. A war was going on between Germany and England, and Coney's husband, Mrs. Jim Macpherson's husband, was the captain in the army. He was commander in charge of the British soldiers. Now he is writing. He says, today I am in a very happy frame of mind because something wonderful has happened. And this wonderful thing is that he starts describing it. It was Christmas morning and suddenly they saw that from the opposite side, the Fritz refers to as German soldiers. They were waving flags from their trenches, ditches in the ground where soldiers hide. And they were shouting, Happy Christmas, Tommy. Tommy is the English soldiers. And then the English soldiers also replied by saying, Same to you. They did not stop there, but they started coming towards them. Now, the writer of this letter, Jim Macpherson, he thought probably it was a trick of the opposite side. They may harm them. But then they were coming there, waving their hands, not carrying any rifle, but they were carrying schnapps and sausages. Now, a German drink schnapps and sausages they meant to eat and drink with the English soldiers. Now, their English side also joined the German soldiers. The German officer who was in charge of their side came to Jim Macpherson, the writer of this letter, and introduced by saying, I am Hans Wolf and I am from Desterdorf and I play cello in the orchestra. Before the war, I was playing cello in the orchestra. And he wished him happy Christmas. Now, the writer of this letter, who is Captain Jim McPherson, replied by saying, Happy Christmas. And before the war, I was a school teacher in west of England. They both discussed about books, about places in England and Germany, about songs, about food, but they never discussed about war. But then they played games. A football match. After eating, drinking, singing, they played football game in which the German side won. But then Hans Wolf, the captain of the German soldiers, said that the English soldiers played very well. They had very perfect style of putting goal. He was admiring their capability. And Jim McPherson said that their side would have won had they played cricket. So they were talking about so many nice things. They were not talking about war. And they wanted that things in the battle should be resolved like this. Instead of wars, differences between countries should be resolved through games in peaceful ways. Because in war, nobody gains, everyone loses. Now, that night, when both the soldiers returned to their camp, they sang songs. They were not talking about war. And the letter ends here. He says to his wife, by Christmas time next year, this war will be coming to an end. Probably we will not remember. But then it may have terrible memories, bad memories. And then he also said that today I came to know how both the armies, the German and the British, they both wanted peace. And then he wrote a line to his wife, Connie, that I am confident that we are going to meet. Now, here we stop, and now let us begin the third portion. I folded the letter again, slipped it carefully back into its envelope. I kept awake all day. By morning, I knew what I had to do. I drove into the Bridport, just a few miles away. I asked a boy walking his dog where Cooper Beaches was. So he was going to give the letter. So he was going to Mrs. Jim McPherson's house. House number 12 turned out to be nothing but a burned out shell. So the house was burned, the roof gaping, the windows boarded up. Then I knocked at the house next door and asked if anyone knew the whereabouts of Mrs. McPherson. Oh yes, said the old lady in his slippers. He knew her well. So he can recognize, yes, you are talking about this old lady? A lovely old lady, he told me. A little muddle-headed. Muddle-headed means she was confused. But at her age, she was entitled to be, wasn't she? Because she was very old. So she kept on forgetting things. 101 years old. She was 101 years old. She had been in the house when it caught fire. When the house caught fire, she was in the house. No one really knew how the fire had started, but it could well have been candles. Maybe due to candles. She used candles rather than electricity. There was no electricity in her house and she used to use candles because she always thought electricity was too expensive. She did not spend money on electricity. The firemen had got her just out in time. So her life was saved, but her house was burned. She was in a nursing home now, he told me. Burlington House on Dorchester Road on the other side of the town. I know that she is in a nursing house. Someone told me this, and he gave the address of the nursing house, Burlington House on Dorchester Road, the other side of the town. So the narrator, when he went to the house, he found the house was burnt. He was having the address because it was in the letter, and then he asked the neighbor, one of the neighbors, about the lady, and the neighbor told that her house was burned. She was 101 years old, but now she is in the nursing home. So now the narrator is going to go to this address, nursing home's address, in order to give the letter to this lady. We stop here. We'll continue with the remaining in the next class. Thank you.